not here, not too conscious yet. Anybody having a Nest thermostat here? Anybody has it? Do you know what it does? It measures the temperature in your room, but it also can say how many people are present, when you're on a holiday. All the data goes to Google, and it's a question if you really want that. This is, of course, the fridge, a fridge that will tell you if you had enough beer already or not. If not, it will not open. If yes, it will. If it's empty, it will ask for new ones. And does anybody know what this is in the back? Yes, it's a smart toilet, and it's a toilet that will tell you whether or not you're pregnant based on whatever comes out of you. From smart gadgets, we go to smart assistants, and of course, many of the new examples always come from the Far East. So this is how people in Korea are envisioning the future. On the end, that's a very interesting project on the right, and it's for you. It's the right-hand side. This is an end-of-life machine that will caress the people that are dying, that don't have a family to do so for them. I don't think if this is a future that we'd want, but it's definitely a future you'll have to consider quite soon. From smart assistants, we go to smart buildings that are measuring the energy, how many people are inside. If any flows should change, it can know a lot about you and its inhabitants and thereby become more efficient. And then you go to the smart cities finally. And smart cities are mainly places where the flows of information and data and waste and traffic and mobility and any flows that you have, the urban metabolism, is controlled and made more efficient. And it is no wonder that this is like the wet dream of people in the government thinking about smart cities, because it's on control. It's about controlling, it's about making more efficient, it's about trying to act as if a city is not an organic place, but if it's like a machine that you can actively make better yourself. And I don't think this is the way we should go. And fortunately today already many people have alluded to the fact that smart cities and smart citizens are two faces of the same coin. You cannot have a smart city without those smart citizens in place. I've did some study about what these smart citizens actually are and how you can define them. And these are the things that typically come up. So they will take responsibility for the place they live, they value access over ownership, they'll ask forgiveness, not permission, and many more things that keep up when you think about keep coming up when you think about smart citizens. But mainly it's two words that I want you to remember. This is about agency and empowerment. It's about people that want to have an active say in how the city is developing. They care about the places that they love and live their lives in, and they want to become part of their futures. I come from Waag Society, and it's a non-profit organization based in Amsterdam, developing and researching technology for social innovation. We've been there since 1994, have 63 people of staff, and we do artistic research, critical design and social innovation. And this means that we bring in artists, scientists, technologists together with citizens to come up with new solutions, but very much also democratizing the access to technologies. Because if your world is becoming smarter or more technologized, I don't know how you say that, then we have to become able to understand what's going on. This is very important because code, computer code, software, hardware, the algorithms are more and more becoming part of culture because they shape our lives. So it means like the Google cars that will drive around before long, they will have to make ethical decisions based on where to crash, if they can avoid one or not. Should they prefer the driver to survive, or maybe the person that it would crash into? There will be ethical decisions made by stuff quite soon, and I think they're already being made. Of course, do you have Tinder here too in the Ukraine? Yes, you do. Active users here. Well, it changes the way that we think about relationships, or at least the start of relationships. And well, it's not worth saying, I think, that in wars, the machines that are doing that war for us are also making a lot of ethical decisions. And I think that when your world is becoming more technological, we have to become makers ourselves. So we closely adhere to the Maker Manifesto. And makers actively, they say that it's very important to make, share, participate in, give, learn and support technologies. And it's a positive movement. They want to build alternatives, they want to share the outcomes, they want to build on each other's blueprints. And we mix that with this. And this is, I think, even more important. It's the Critical Engineering Manifesto. Does anybody know this manifesto? What this says, it says many things. It's 10-point manifesto, but the most important point is number 6. The critical engineer recognizes that each work of engineering engineers its user proportionally to that user's dependency on it. So it's not the technology that we engineer, it's us that are engineered. So we have to become critical engineers too. And if you sum up those 2 manifestos, you come to this. If you can't open it, you don't own it. And that means if you cannot open the technologies that you're using, like your phone, like your computer, like the Nest, like the new fridge that I showed you, then you're outside of the developments and you can look at it, but you cannot influence it. So it's very important to become makers yourself. The places that this happens in it's happening all over. And it's happening, for example, in fab labs, wet labs, and maker spaces. Who of you has been into one of those fab labs? Just a few. Are anyone in Kiev that you might go to? No fab labs? Yeah, there's one. Yeah, so speak to that person there. Because exactly there's what happens. So people like these makers are meeting themselves and they're making technology, but more and more making communities of people who are makers. And now I come to the topic of urban environmental challenges, because the whole story that I've told you so far, you can apply that in many different fields. And one of the applications is in urban environmental challenges. And this means how is air pollution doing, how is water pollution, how is sound, how is the land doing. And this is an important topic because our environment is very much influencing our health. It's more than we think. So with each report from the World Health Organization, it becomes clearer that less pollution has a larger influence on our lives and our health and our well-being. And this is a topic that many people don't realize day by day, but they should, because it can affect all of your life, and not just yours, but also your siblings and your offspring. Whereas it's so important a topic, there are just a few official measuring stations. And this is how they look like. They're quite big and very expensive to run. And in a country like Holland, we typically have 100 of those measuring stations, so no more. Whereas we know that from street to street, from house to house, from square to square, the levels of pollution and thereby the influence on your health is varying widely. So it means that I think we should do something. And one thing we could do is, after talking so much about open data, so opening data that's already there, why don't we just start collecting data and making data that we will then open up? So this is what we try to do. We got inspired by this example. I don't know this. Anybody know this one? Safecast. It's a Geiger counter. It's an open source Geiger counter. Ah, you know it again. I have to talk to you afterwards. Safecast is an open source Geiger counter that was made after the Fukushima disaster in Japan. So maybe you remember the tsunami that was there. After the tsunami, there was a lot of radiation, and the government couldn't tell where that radiation was. They just had too little information. And that's why a group of volunteers started to make their own measurement devices. Not only measurement devices, but then go about making open data available so people knew where they should worry and where they should not worry. So this was a great relief. And many people started making their own Geiger counters and also starting to do this around the world. So there's many reasons why you could do that here as well, of course. Another interesting example is this one. It's called Air Basin. And the Air Basin is a totally different approach. It's not technological at all. People use strawberry plants, so really strawberry plants, as you can see, to measure environmental qualities. They got over 1,500 people to join into this experiment, where people put small strawberry plants on their balconies for a period of time. Then they collected the strawberry leaves and they did their analysis, and they came to a very high quality map of the air pollution in the city of Antwerp. And this was so powerful that it also changed legislation. So with small things you can get large effects. This is a final example. Does anybody know this one? You cannot do. Okay. Yes, it's the pigeon example. You too. This is where it was based on a previous experiment by an artist, but recently people in London started giving the doves these kind of sensing packages, so the dove fly around and it measures air quality wherever it goes. I thought it was a neat example. And based on these examples, we came up with the Smart Citizens Lab. And this is something that I urge you to investigate and reproduce if you find it interesting. The Smart Citizens Lab is helping people to understand their environments based on open source, low-cost sensors. It builds a community, and it builds also on existing communities of people that care, and it connects them with people that have expertise, either in making sensors or in interpreting the data. We've been doing so now for the 3rd year in a row, and have grown a community of about 900 people in total that are interested in this. They come to us regularly, and we work with them to do the things that they care about. So we call this Citizen Science 2.0, or bottom-up citizen science. Normally citizen science is where people from academia, they invite normal people in to participate in the experiment. And we do this different way, the other way around. So we first ask, what is your concern? And then we'll invite the experts in based on the needs, and they help the citizens acquire the data that they want. We don't do this alone. So over the course of 3 years, we've had a large international network, national and international, of people that want to do this with us. And we found out that this is also very necessary, because topics of the environment are rather complicated. And this means that without enough expertise, you really cannot say so much. So it's important to involve them at an early stage and have them part of the experiment, but make it very clear that the only ones who make a decision is the citizen themselves. So this is what we do. We help people to acquire, read, and manipulate data, to understand their environments, turn that data and insight into action, using public networks of low-cost open-source sensors. And our results is that we want to have these better informed citizens. It's a win-win-win situation. So the citizens themselves will know better where they stand and how to take action. The institutes, they have more data, so they can calibrate their models and will have more insights. And the governments also know what concerns people. So there's no loss here. The only one who loses are people who want to keep others ignorant. So this is, I think it's win-win-win. The first time we invited a lot of people in. We just had an article in the local newspaper, 150 people signed up. We asked them, why do you come? And there are 3 specific reasons. Some people are really concerned about the environment, but that's not the only reason. People are also interested in participation, so they just like to do things together, and why not here? And many people are interested in new technologies. And our best, the people that can do these projects best are of course either in the middle, or they are very good at participating. So it means you can collect and connect groups that have various skills or complementary skills and do projects with them. We use a very big variety of methods. So did anybody do any of these methods before, like kite mapping, for example? This is a very interesting example by Public Map, in which Public Lab, which uses just a normal kite, a kite with a camera on top, and you can go have the kite very high up, and you can make very high detailed imageries from above, just in the normal spectrum, or maybe in the spectrum of infrared, which tells you something about how healthy your greenery is. We did emotional mapping, so ask people, how do you feel here, how do you feel there, how do you feel there? Or for example, how does the sound that you hear relate to your emotions? We use open source technologies like the Smart Citizen Kit, that's on the left side, that was made in Barcelona, and it measures a lot of stuff on a low quality, but it can help you to identify where are the weak spots, so where you should go into deep things. And then finally we are now making like a snake. It's an open source project, and the snake moves around the canals of Amsterdam, helping you to see where is swimming water or not. People want to, have ever been to Amsterdam? Anybody has been to Amsterdam before? Then you've seen the canals and people want to swim in them, and we are now seeing whether or not it's safe and where you can do so. We also made our own sensors, and we've helped people to make their own sensors. So we have the Fab Lab and the Web Lab, and based on that you could do, there's no limit to what kind of things you're sensing. The only limit is your imagination, and we help people to expand their imagination as well. We did a lot of visualizations of the results, but more important is this, we think people should be able to make meaningful data-driven discoveries and data-driven or data-informed debates and discussions that will inform them, so they know how to position themselves to each other, but also to their governments. And we hope that people will either change their behavior, they will ask the government to take measurements, or they do something else that we don't know yet. We came up with a methodology, and this is a 7-step methodology that I don't have time to go into, but it was very much documented in our booklets. So if you're interested in this, you can download the booklets from Needs to Knowledge and also the Amsterdam Smart Citizens Lab, which extensively talks about why we did it, what we did, what was done, and also how you can replicate it yourself, and also what was learned. And based on this, we are now doing a European project where we will have 9 pilots in Kosovo, Barcelona, and Amsterdam, coming up with an open source toolkit for bottom-up participatory sensing projects. So please watch on that. So just a few things, what to do after this. Huh? First of all, if you want to do this bottom-up citizen science, think closely about what you ask your participants. Do you ask them just to do data acquisition, as is the normal practice, or do you ask them to engage in problem definition, research strategy, building tools and sensors, doing the interpretation, and thinking about actions? And of course, I think you should do all of them if you take your citizens seriously. It has been said before, value coding and design skills. If your society has become so technologically infused, we cannot afford to be ignorant. It's like not being able to read. Huh? It's not anymore possible not to read your technology and write it as well. Go to your Fab Labs. So if you have one, go there. There are people willing to work with you more than you think. And also it will enable you to do more things than you thought was possible. So there's really no limit to what you can do, because you can build on the examples of other people. You can find your community and together make something extraordinary. You can only do so if you use open technology. So we've talked about open data, but the same goes for open hardware and open biology and open anything. Because if we don't, as a collective, work towards a commons, a very, very vibrant commons of knowledge, then our efforts will just be in vain. Huh? So it's very important to document your findings, to document your solutions, to document your blueprints, and to open them under the right licenses. And this will, I think, and also think about inclusive engagement. This is not just for the rich, it's not just for the young, it's not just for the technologists, it's for people that care, and they should find each other. So, in short, empower smart citizens. Take away. Why is it important? 3 more slides and I'm done. It's important because finally we want to do something like this. I think we should, because we have all the reasons in the world to finally start changing systems, but we cannot do so in one stretch. It's not possible. So we have to start small. We have to start with the small opportunities that we can make, generate ideas, develop them, test them, making them a case, so involving others, making sure that they understand why it's important, and then grow and scale. So aim high, but start small, I'd say. Finally, my 2 slides about smart cities. The original smart cities that we've seen in so many places, they're about top-down decision-making, linear approaches, reducing complexity, and minimizing uncertainty. And this is why they stifle innovation. I mean, you can talk to everybody as long as you want, but if you're not willing to work with the fractures and where it hurts, then you will not come anywhere far. So that's why I propose a different approach, and this is the illuminated cities one. It's totally the opposite. It's encouraging bottom-up decision-making, non-linear approaches. It's encouraging and also seeking out complexity. It's embracing uncertainty, and thereby you enable and boost creativity. And I think we should strive for those. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because we have some additional 2 minutes for the question, I want to try to elaborate a little bit more on that replication method of it. So you've shown us a lot of great projects here, and I was just wondering how easy or not easy it is to start localizing them in a city which just wants to begin the adventure of becoming smart.
Well, I think that depending on what you want to achieve, you need your partnerships. This has also been said before. So if you want to do something complicated like air quality, you need experts that are willing to work with you under the right conditions, otherwise it doesn't work. If you want to do something simpler like sound, you can start right away just using your phones that you have anyway. So it's this choosing partnerships wisely, and also think for a while on what it is you want to achieve and what will make you happy. Because that informs everything else.
Okay, so happiness. Thank you.
Thank you very much.